E3 2019 is coming up fast, just about a week away now. So today I wanted to go over my wish list for Nintendo's E3 Direct this year. These aren't necessarily my predictions, as nothing on this list is, I believe, even confirmed to be coming at least anytime soon. More so, these are just things I would really like to see. There's a lot to go over, so let's just jump right into it. Let's start with a game that I think at this point is just ridiculous that it isn't already on the Switch. Spyro the Reignited Trilogy. Rumors about this game coming to Switch were dropping left and right pretty much from the moment it released on other platforms. Actually, on the pre-order section of the online page, there was an option for a Switch version. Again, this was the pre-order page before the game even released. And still, we have no official announcement that it is indeed happening. They already brought over the Crash N. Sane trilogy, which has been selling like hotcakes on pretty much every platform. Surely Spyro would make just as much sense and be just as successful with the Switch audience. I honestly just want this confirmed so we can move on from it at this point. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about it. In terms of other third-party games, The Witcher 3 has been heavily rumored lately. There were these store listings that supposedly leaked, and while I'd love to have it come to the Switch, I don't know how likely that would be unless it was a cloud game, meaning you'd have to stream it from the internet to play it on your console. And if I have to do that, if I have to stream the game, I'd rather not have it, honestly. But since this is more of a wish list, I'll embrace it and say, if by some form of technical wizardry they were able to bring this beast of a game to the Switch and have it run off the system, have it run well, yes, I'll take that all day. Who wouldn't want one of the greatest games of this generation to be on the Switch? I mean, come on. The game's fantastic. Nier Automata, published by Square Enix, developed by Platinum Games, two of my favorite studios. Everyone and their dog has told me about how awesome this game is, and I still haven't played it. I think this is a game that would do very well with the Switch audience. Aesthetically, very Japanese. Don't forget, the Switch just recently surpassed the PS4 in terms of sales in Japan. Game definitely looks great from everything I've seen, and again, from what I've heard, it has incredibly solid gameplay, which, coming from Platinum, is no surprise. If this game does find its way to the Switch, I will have absolutely no excuse not to play it. I think it's very likely that we will get a Smash character reveal during this E3 Direct, and I also think it's very possible that character is a Microsoft representative. We know Nintendo and Microsoft have this budding romance lately, and I do believe at E3 this year we're going to see them take it to the next level in a few ways. We know that we just got Cuphead on Switch. Other games are rumored to come over. Ori is a big one, and I think it's likely we'll even see some AAA stuff come over as well. And for that reason, I think it would make sense for them to put a Microsoft character in Smash. I know Minecraft Steve has been discussed, heavily rumored. More likely, maybe even because Minecraft is so huge, it's definitely their biggest game, one of the biggest games ever. But to me, Banjo Kazooie is the white whale here. If you want to talk about characters, a franchise that is heavily tied to Nintendo, despite being owned by somebody else, you don't get much better than Banjo and Kazooie. Here's my dream scenario, okay? Microsoft, during their conference, which is 2 hours, by the way, so they better have some awesome stuff to show to fill that 2-hour period. During it, they announce Banjo Kazooie 3, and then during the Direct, Nintendo announces that Banjo and Kazooie will be playable in Smash Bros. If they did a Banjo Kazooie 3, I doubt they'd put that on the Switch, at least not right away. If they wanted to tie Banjo and Kazooie in with a game release on Switch, you know what they could do is they could put it Rare Replay on the Switch. I think that would be, I've tweeted that out previously, that as soon as we got the Cuphead on the Switch, actually, I tweeted out, hey, the next game you guys should put is the Rare Replay collection, since most of those games were on Nintendo consoles. That's what I would prefer. Again, that's my dream scenario. However, I understand I'm an older part of the audience. So are many people who grew up playing Banjo Kazooie. Obviously, if you grew up playing Banjo Kazooie, you're probably on the older side. And the series hasn't been relevant in over a decade. So yes, I understand it would probably make more sense to put someone in who has some more notoriety, and that's where I'd be willing to compromise. If we're not going to get Banjo and Kazooie, my next pick for Microsoft would be Master Chief. Make no mistake about it, Minecraft might be their biggest game, but Master Chief is the Xbox mascot. I think he'd make a fine addition to the game with all his guns, running around with an energy sword, all that good stuff. And beyond just Chief's inclusion, one of the Microsoft games that many Nintendo fans have said they'd like to see on the Switch is the Master Chief Collection. All 4 of those games did originally run on the Xbox 360, so I think it could be possible. Hell, the Switch is getting Doom Eternal, after all, a much more demanding first-person shooter. I mean, God, geez, I just talked about Witcher 3, for Christ's sake. But yeah, that could be another cool announcement. You know, reveal Master Chief is coming to Smash, and then the Master Chief Collection is also coming to the Switch with them. I think that'd be awesome. Moving on to the Nintendo side of things. Everyone talks about how the Switch sees so many Wii U ports. It's actually often a critique of the system that there's too many. Personally, the only issue I ever have with these ports is pricing. I often think they are way overpriced. But in terms of actually bringing these games over, I think it's great, considering the Wii U sold so poorly. That means many people who didn't get a chance to play these games during their original release are able to play them on the Switch. And there are still a few left, in my opinion, that I would really like to see. The one I would like to see the most, if I had to pick one, is Xenoblade Chronicles X. It showcased, in my opinion, what the system was capable of, and the skells I just thought were so cool. If you're unfamiliar, they were these giant mechs you get access to like 30 hours or so into the game, and they totally change up the gameplay, and you have just this great shift from spending so much of the game on the ground trying to run past these massive, intimidating beasts, and then, you know, once you're able to pilot these skells, you can actually take them on later on. Just thought that was so cool. 2 other games I'd like to see as well are Platinum's Wonderful 101, very solid, unique action game, and probably the least likely to get a port, but again, one I'd really want, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. The argument I would make with this is, with how popular, even more mainstream, Persona has been with Persona 5, I think something like Mirage Sessions, especially on a console as popular as the Switch, like I said, outselling the PS4 in Japan. This is another very, very Japanese game. I think this game could actually do really well on the system and get way more exposure. And speaking of exposed, make sure if you do bring it over, you uncensor that shit, okay? Get that stupid cloud effect off of the demon boobies. Come on. The people want to see them. In the online camp, Nintendo still really needs a reason for people to keep subscribing to the online service. And I think this is an issue they're going to have, particularly towards the end of this year. I think many people who subbed for Smash, I've said this before, are going to let their subscriptions lapse if you don't give them a new reason to stay subscribed. Given the direction they've been going with stuff like Mario Maker 2, no playing with your friends online. These are the big brain ideas the Big N has with online play. I wouldn't trust them right now to have that new reason be another big, bold online game. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't see it with the stuff we have set to release between now and the end of the year. So going back to what I've always said, I think their best option is to beef up those classic games. I've said it a million times, everybody else has said it a million times. Let's get Super Nintendo games, at least. Come on, Super Nintendo games included as part of that online service. You don't need a lot to start. I wouldn't even say you need to start with like 10 or something. Start with 5, I don't care. But we need to get more games on there that are newer than NES games. Moving on to the new Nintendo games, the Nintendo exclusive games, I'll say. There's a title similar to Spyro that I've mentioned before. I'm starting to get a bit irked by the fact that we haven't heard news on it for a long time, and that's Shin Megami Tensei 5. This was originally teased back at the big reveal event for the Switch console in January 2017. We've gotten some small signs of life since then, a few public statements here and there, a trailer that actually confirmed the game is coming to the West. The last word I remember hearing was in December of last year, where one of the game's producers said he hopes fans can wait just a little while longer for more news. I'd say we're at the point of a little while longer now.
Only one thing is alive and well here. Evil.
If you followed my channel for pretty much any length of time, this should be the most obvious for you. I've been wishing for this to be announced for pretty much every Nintendo Direct since, I don't even know how long, more than a year, for sure. The Metroid Prime Trilogy Collection in HD. I've gone over this, like I said, so many times before. Makes all the sense in the world with Prime 4 coming out. Many people are going to be looking to replay these games or even play them for the first time to get acquainted with the story and all that before the fourth game releases. Even though that's not going to be for a while, you also need something to hold you over, as well as time to play all three games. On their own, they're still three of the best games from both the GameCube and Wii eras, and I think they would look really impressive with a fresh coat of paint. Like, I think you could do very little tweaking and impress people immensely. Supposedly, this is something that they're not only working on, they're already done with. There's a lot of reports that have come out saying the game is done, and if so, I just say, what's the holdup? Drop the thing already. And for like a sort of bigger reveal, I was thinking about this, and it's kind of crazy to think, with the Switch only being around for a little over 2 years now, how many of the major hitters have already been touched on. I mean, Mario, Zelda, Smash Brothers, Pokemon, the first core Pokemon, as well as Animal Crossing are coming later this year. And considering how many of these big players we've already seen, I honestly really want to see Star Fox make an appearance at this year's E3. We got the Star Fox content in that Starlink game last year, which was really the main selling point for it, and the reason it sold so much better on the Switch than on other consoles. But that's still, it wasn't actually a Star Fox game. The Fox team were just guest characters. Plus, Fox's last true outing was Star Fox Zero on the Wii U, which didn't exactly light the world on fire. I actually liked it, but I know most people didn't. So it'd be nice to wash the taste of that game out of people's mouths, I think. Last year there was actually this rumor floating around about a Star Fox racing game, and some said we didn't see it because it wasn't ready or was going through some major revisions. So maybe it could be that. Maybe that Star Fox racing game could be real and that could make an appearance. I don't know. I'd prefer a more traditional Star Fox game, but at this point, I'll take anything. And again, I feel like in terms of major Nintendo franchises that have yet to appear on the Switch, Star Fox is currently one of the most notable absences. And with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know what games you're hoping to see from Nintendo at E3 this year in the comments. What games do you think we're going to see, and what are your big wish list type things? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of my hopes for Nintendo's E3 2019 Direct. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and if you want to keep the conversation going, hit me up on Twitter, @JohnnyZakari, and join my Discord, Shy Guy and Friends, linked to both in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.